Hello everyone and welcome back to You Know Who. I'm your host, the reviewer. Things have gotten a little difficult here in our studio, the Sardis. Those robots from the Utopian Nebula are back and they're attempting to interfere with our previous broadcasts. But we'll keep fighting the good fight, and I'm not alone in this fight. With me as always is my cameraman, Jamie. What the hell is that? Well, we've been pretty lucky against the bots, so I decided it was time to brighten things up. I got us a pet. Well, it's one of those earth animals that's covered in feathers and flies. What are they called? A snail. It's a wee birdie, you loony. A cockatiel, they're wonderful pets. I used to play fetch with mine back as a wee baron in Nice. Jamie, I didn't know you were French. Well, pets or no, we've got a new episode to review. This is Face the Raven. No good will come from that bird, Jamie. Returning from another harrowing adventure, the TARDIS phone starts ringing. It's Rigsy, Clara's pseudo-sidekick from last season's Flatline. He's just woken up and found a tattoo on his neck, except he doesn't remember getting the tattoo. A 3-digit number that's counting down. At his apartment, Rigsy introduces them to his baby daughter. He also can't remember anything of the previous day. The doctor's suitably intrigued when he sees the numbers change. On the TARDIS, they scan him. At some point in the recent past, Rigsy encountered aliens and had his memories wiped. The doctor reads a news scan and pulls out the bad news cards. Rigsy will die once the tattoo hits 0. The doctor has heard rumors of hidden alien communities in London. They start going through maps to find a street that's gone missing from the city. They fly above London with Clara looking straight down with the sonic sunglasses. If there's a hidden alien street, its camouflage tech will cause her to skip over it. A bit of turbulence almost knocks her out and she starts laughing. Rigsy and the doctor realize that she's enjoying these life and death moments way too much. Back in the ground, they check on the map areas her eyes skipped over. They start counting. Whenever they hit a patch of land where they can't keep focused on counting, they've probably found a trap street. Well, now that's very interesting. Many of our viewers have accused us of being a trap show because they say we fail to hold their attention. Of course, they're big doo-doo heads. Clara believes she's found it. To locate the entrance, they'll need to distract themselves. She heads back to the TARDIS for an annoying snuff run and sees that it's finished repairing Rigsy's phone. Yesterday, he got a phone call, and Rigsy flashes back to finding a dead body in a street and being surrounded by aliens. He leads them into the trap street. A few steps in, and they're frozen to the spot. A pair of men Rigsy recognizes as aliens question why they're here. Are they seeking sanctuary? This is a refugee camp, as explained by their mayor, Me, aka a shielder. Clara's surprised Me doesn't remember her, but happy that they found out where she's been all this time. The doctor lost track of her a while back. He's got a secret room dedicated to Me. The doctor explains, someone here has a quantum shade. Rigsy reveals his identity and the aliens all tense up. Me shows that she has a tattoo of her own. The quantum shade. Rigsy committed a crime, but she gave him enough time to say his goodbyes, which, the doctor reminds her, he couldn't do because his memories had been taken away by a retcon. That's because no one on this street leaves with their memories intact. The doctor asks Me to tell them what happened to Rigsy, but first he has her personally guarantee Clara's safety. As they head in, an alien calls Rigsy a murderer. Oh sure, anytime a dead alien shows up on Earth, it must be a brother who killed him. Now Jamie, just because you're black and you've been accused of murdering aliens doesn't mean you can bring your own biases to this review. We must be impartial. Jamie, don't play that honky. I've only unmitigated color! What's a honky, Jamie? Although there is a peace on the street, the doctor has enemies here, and Rigsy is considered a killer. They see that they're being watched by a two-faced boy. Me explains the lamps broadcast a telepathic field that causes the street to be ignored, and those on the street to be seen as human. In her home, they see a body in stasis. Anna, the one Rigsy killed. She also has two faces, and the doctor explains that the females of her species can see into the future and the past. The phone call lured Rigsy here to a street he should have been able to find. With 41 minutes left, Me is called out by a group of refugees. A man is begging to be released from the street or imprisoned. He also has a tattoo with only 2 minutes left. Me explains that he stole medicine for his wife, but he broke the laws of the street and must now face the Raven. She will not undo his sentence. His wife begs him to give her the tattoo, but he did this to save her life. He won't condemn her now because he's afraid. The Raven turns to mist and flies from its cage. The doctor explains that there's nowhere in time and space to escape from a quantum shade. It flies into the man's chest, and he screams in agony. A moment later, smoke pours from his mouth. Dead. The tattoo reforms on Me. Me explains that there are powerful and dangerous aliens here. They need to fear this painful death of the Raven to be kept in line. She'll release Rigsy if they can convince the refugees that he's innocent of this murder. The doctor sends them out. They need to win over the refugees. Clara sees Rigsy on the phone to his girlfriend. Their baby is crying. Clara then questions one of the aliens. The only way to survive the shade is to have the tag removed, or for someone else to willingly take on the burden. Convinced that Me's protection is absolute, Clara tries to get Rigsy to give her the tattoo. The doctor will be mad, but when she presses that his survival is important to his baby, he relents. The tattoo passes to Clara. And in return, Rigsy got Clara's tramp stamp, a drunken souvenir of her trip to Ibiza, senior year of university. Mark my words, Jamie, no good will come from that bird. No good! The doctor inquires about Anna, the victim. She was special to all of them here, as her ability let her see their pain and bond with them. It has to be Rigsy, because if it wasn't, one of them did it and the piece falls apart. Another alien mentions that Rigsy was scared and asked the mayor to call the doctor for him. With his phone broken, Rigsy must have asked Me to call the doctor. She knew that Rigsy and the doctor were friends. Rigsy mentions that all the aliens are looking at him like he's a killer, and that gives Clara an epiphany. They meet Anna's son, except he's not looking at them with hostility. He knows Rigsy is innocent because he can read his timeline. Anna's son is actually a girl. Hiding her ability has kept her safe, but looking into the mirror, she knows that Me is acting on good intentions and it involves the doctor, but his timeline is impossible for her to read. This was never about Rigsy. Me baited the doctor here with an irresistible mystery. Anna's people burned their dead, not bury them, so there's no reason to keep her corpse. This is a stasis pod. Anna is alive. There's a keyhole in it, meant for the doctor's TARDIS key. He puts it in and his arm is pulled into the machine. Anna awakens, and a metal bond is attached to the doctor's arm. The device is a teleport bracelet. Me has made a deal with an unnamed party. She sends the doctor away and takes his TARDIS key, and her street is forever protected. She also takes his confession dial. With 8 minutes left, Clara reveals that she has the chronologue tattoo. Me is horrified. No one was supposed to be harmed in this. The death can't be avoided, something she didn't tell Rigsy. The tattoo can't be returned to him now, and Me does not have the power to take it off of anyone else. The doctor can't do anything and begins to threaten Me and her street. He will see everything she cares about burned. Me knows the doctor won't hurt others, but he's not the doctor right now. Tearfully, Clara begs him to stop. This is her fault. This is not how she wants him to be in her last moments. This is her moment to die proudly, just like Danny Pink did. Was this the reason she kept recklessly throwing herself at danger? Did she have a death wish? The doctor should have taken better care of Clara. She never asked for his care, but you don't have to ask the ones you love to protect you. She knows the doctor isn't good alone, but he must not direct his anger at anyone. She wants him to be the doctor, not a monster. No one suffers for her death, except him. One last hug. He asks her to stay with him, but she must face the Raven. Clara walks into the street. The Raven arrives, but she does not run. Clara screams. Clara dies. Inside, the doctor tells Me the promise of no revenge was for her benefit, but he can't be sure he'll keep it. Best for Me to stay out of his way. He teleports out. Later, we see Rigsy attack the TARDIS in the memory of Clara Oswald. Oh dear. Well, Clara had been the companion going back to Matt Smith's final season of Doctor Who. I've always admired her enthusiasm. Those short skirts didn't hurt either. Quiet you! Was this episode the emotional gut punch Stephen Moffat hoped it would be, or was it simply a cheap kick in the groins? Who writes this stuff? Let's take a closer look at Face the Raven. Throughout this season of Who, we've seen Clara grow more and more into a Doctor wannabe. Whether or not this was a reaction to Danny's death, I can't say, as the motivation was never made clear to us. Clara herself wonders if she was living with some sort of death wish, and here, that desire to be the Doctor is fulfilled, and it ends up killing her. This has been a slow build with Clara ever since she and the 12th Doctor gelled. In fact, it would probably be traced back to Rigsy's previous appearance in Flatline, when he was acting as her companion, and she had to be the Doctor because he was incapacitated. Her reasons for taking on the tattoo seem silly. It should have been more genuinely about protecting Rigsy for his daughter's sake, but it just seems like that's the reason given to convince Rigsy because she really wants to take on the danger, confident the doctor will save her. And so when the truth becomes apparent, she asks the doctor, "Why can't I be like you?" And his answer is simplicity. He's less breakable. And so Clara does break. She takes one too many chances, pushes her blind faith in the doctor a bit too far this one time. Yes, I know where the season is going, but it doesn't diminish the emotional farewell between the doctor, knowing he can't save his best friend, and Clara, knowing how much her death will hurt him. Her death isn't even really about her, it's about how it affects the doctor. Once again reinforcing that her world has been revolving around him for some time now. Jenna Coleman manages to seamlessly transition from enthusiastic adrenaline junkie to determined, if frightened, mortal. This is one of her best moments on the show, and it's extremely emotional watching Clara silently scream and fall dead. The music really helps sell the tragedy, while taking away the actual sound keeps it from becoming horrible. Peter Capaldi likewise is very good here, managing to play the usual curious, rude, but still good-natured doctor, and devolving for a moment into the old war doctor persona, shedding what he thinks is good in himself in order to rain destruction and terror on those who've wronged the ones he loves. In fact, if anything, this season has been Peter Capaldi not playing the Doctor, but playing a Time Lord aspiring to be the Doctor. And that's kind of brilliant if you think about it, because it allows moments of the mask to slip and us to see the potential monster underneath. This moment, where with a weak smile he asks Clara to stay with him, if I had two hearts, they'd both be breaking at that moment. As for the rest of the supporting cast, Joyvan Wade as Riggsy puts in a better performance than Flatline. There, he was being led around wide-eyed all the time. Here, he gets to emote some, showing horror at the thought of being a killer to longing to be with his family and regret over Clara's deception costing her her life. Sadly, Me, played by Maisie Williams, just felt like she was retreading the same water she paddled in The Woman Who Lived. She's again involved in a sinister plot, but then shows remorse for the foreseeable consequences of that plot. That said, this episode is concise, powerful, and emotional. And what's wrong with that? And this episode had excitement, adventure, and loss. Although we never did find out why Cyberman wasn't trying to convert every organic in sight. I give Doctor Who, Face the Raven, 5 TARDISes out of 5. Hoping you'll face the... Wait a minute. Jamie, do you sense some sort of vibration coming from that bird? I do not. The sonic spork will reveal all. Jamie, where did you get that bird? Oh, I picked it up in the Utube Nebula. No, Jamie! It's a homing cockatiel leading the Utube bots right to us. And if they find us, they'll delete our entire library of episodes just for using a few video clips, even though it obviously falls under the auspice of fair use. These insidious monsters want nothing more than to block all entertainment, even if it's done in the form of a legal review. Some real morons programmed these robots.
Reviewer, eliminate. We are here to eliminate your show.
Well, hoping we see you next time. I'm the reviewer, and this is You Know Who! Jimmy, dematerialize now!